stack though.
Yeah.
So moving on to the educational component. Okay, I see I have a message here now that our event is being recorded. So if you don't want your face in the recording, then I guess if you're live, I don't know what you do. Do you hold a piece of paper up in front of your face, right? So if you're virtual, you can decide. So let's move on. I mentioned we'll start with just a level setting of chatbots. And I think most people have heard of chatbots at this point. We use many of them and the art of prompting. So prompting is really creating and refining inputs into the AI to guide the large language models on what you're trying to accomplish. And really detailed and clear prompts help the AI understand context and desired output better, and they lead to more accurate and relevant responses. So a way to think about really these AI engines, the ones, again, we're referring to the large language models, which drive the chatbots, it's really, think about somebody, maybe a kid, maybe between like 4 and 7 years old. And so they don't really have very much context for the world. And so there's kind of an art form or adjustment in how to communicate with them. So, for example, I see all the time when people that use our products, they'll say, the engine, your tool didn't understand the comment of put flowers under the awning. Well, if you think about it, a 4-year-old kid probably doesn't know what an awning even is. And so trying to tell a 4-year-old to do that doesn't work. So there are different types of descriptors that you'll have to get familiar with. So what I will say is right now, our team has a bias for perplexity.ai. I have been using the sort of the paid for version of ChatGPT-4, and my experience with the free version of perplexity.ai right now is better than ChatGPT. So just be aware, all of these tools are probably going to leapfrog each other pretty frequently over the coming year. And so what you're using, might change. I think it'll settle down here over the next couple of years as the very large players with the very deep investment pockets will start to sort themselves out. So later in the discussion today, I'll be focusing on perplexity.ai. For those of you that went through some of this at Myrtle Beach, for example, we were much more focused on ChatGPT.
So Steve, for those of us that don't know anything about AI, is this what y'all are using in the background, or is this something that we need to know as users?
This is absolutely something that you can use. I will demo this later, but let me just go ahead and show this right now. So I am just going to go back to the home page. So you can see the URL here, perplexity.ai. Right, you just type it right into your browser. So this has the whole thing, right? So if I type in as long as I'm not perplexed on my spelling, right, it'll come here. And then if I wanted to try another one like ChatGPT, so if I'm not sure what the URL is, I'll just type in ChatGPT. So old style Google search. Here I've found it. I bring it up, and immediately it brings up the free version of ChatGPT. How can I help you? In ChatGPT, here's a prompt down here at the bottom of the screen, right? And I will demonstrate how to use these prompts in just a little bit. So they are absolutely accessible. AI right here is accessible to everybody. And what I'll say is there are also, both of these products have iPhone applications, and they're pretty cool. The ChatGPT iPhone application as well, it has a voice interaction feature. So you, excuse me, you can actually have a little voice conversation with your chatbot, and it will, it'll do everything from tell you jokes to answer some very detailed questions. Questions about the regulatory environment that you're working in from a design perspective, analysis of perhaps news items that you're interested in. So, if you're used to burning time on social media, maybe you can burn some time on your chatbot instead and get to know your chatbot. So, like I said, we're biased for Perplexity AI, and I will get into that later today. Any more just general questions on access to AI? Nice. Okay, so what we're going to start with is a very simple, perhaps workflow item that would help you out to do outbound marketing emails. So if you are looking to generate work, hopefully over the course of your experience, you have a list of prior customers that have worked with you and their email addresses, and then perhaps you can find email addresses of people in your community via various mechanisms. One is simply by being active on social media. You might be able to track that down. But oftentimes, the design business is based off of word of mouth references, and just keeping your business top of mind with your prior customers helps with that word of mouth. And just an example of that is last year we had an opportunity to refinance our house. We worked with a mortgage broker, and they were really good. And what's interesting is they generally send me an email quarterly, so it doesn't feel like spam, and it is oftentimes tied in with whether it is the 4th of July or something else. And it's very short, and it's really just a reminder that they're out there in case I need more work done, or if I'm talking to an associate or a friend, and and that opportunity comes up, I might refer them. So that's something to consider. And so to start your outbound emailing, what I've designed here are really just a few components of what's called simple positioning. And positioning is a marketing term, and is just think about this as how you want to describe your business and offer to your target market, which is, of course, prospects and customers in the custom design space. So this is just another item as well that you could ask the chatbot about. You could ask the chatbot, tell me about positioning my business, and it will very likely give you these types of things. So what I've done is I've filled out this simple positioning with some examples. So I'm going to call our business name for the examples, I'll call it Hoska Design Professionals. We offer house plans, renders, and custom design. The tone that we want to project to our customers, I will say positive, professional, concise, and welcoming language. The target market are people interested in building a custom home. We could even add that, right? So, or decks, So a lot of home designers also will do designs for what are really sort of remodel or ads. So again, do what's relevant for your business. And then on the benefit, I am going to use one of the benefits of prospects engaging with a certified professional building designer. So I will use the CPBD nomenclature in my email and marketing materials. So now we come to our very first prompt. right, which is generate an email using these components, right, business name, offer, tone, target market, and benefit that generates business opportunities. So here's how you use it. I'm simply going to copy all of these things. I'm going to move over into my chatbot, Perplexity. On Perplexity, I'm going to change the focus to writing, right? So when I am prompting, I can choose the sort of focus areas for the chatbot to focus in on. I'm going to select writing. I've tested this without really going into the writing focus, and it still works really well. But I am just trying to write something, so I'm going to type that entire content in. I'm going to go ahead and delete the word prompt, although honestly, I haven't tested it. I think it wouldn't change anything at all. So this is now essentially the entire prompt. So I've given it a bunch of background information and context, and then I've asked it to do something for me. I'm going to go ahead and hit return, right? It replies back with, this is what you've asked for. And then it's giving me my answer. Here's a draft email for Hoska design professionals to generate business opportunities. So here's where it starts. Subject, bring your dream home to life with Hoska design professionals. Dear customer name. So this is where you can personalize your email, right? And can you guys see this on the screen, or do you want me to read some of this? It's a little bit small.
Well, we're kind of having a hard time, but it's mostly our projection method. But also, if you could make the screen a little larger.
And is it my eyes or is that blurry?
It's kind of blurry, but again, I think it's the screen a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know whether
it's the light.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you guys have ideas on how I might make this larger? First, I can go full screen. That'll help a little bit.
Try pressing Control and then the plus button.
Let's do that. Ooh. Control plus makes your screen larger.
Right.
All right,
That helps better, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So we can't see as much, but I can scroll.
Very good.
Right. And you really only need the gist of it. I mean, really what, my perception is, this is a really nice email. It's really well written. Right. So it is, right. It basically says, you can trust us because we are CPBD certified designers. We bring a wealth of specialized training. Right. We stay ahead of the curve. We provide professionalized services. Right, it is talking about all the things that I told it we do. Right, it says we have a seamless experience, and then I might want to say something like, let's make this more concise. People don't have much time; they don't want to read a long email. So let's see what it does now.
So that's literally AI typing.
So that's literally AI in the background. So it did. It made a shorter email. So really, there are two things here from a technical perspective. You can't see the AI engine or the large language model that's running off in the background. What you're really seeing is an application, right? This Perplexity application uses that large language model, which is really the AI engine. Right, and so you will, over the course of the coming years, you'll see lots and lots of different applications that are actually leveraging the AI engine. So this user interface that we're all seeing, right, that's not really AI. This is just our user interface or our application into AI. It's the large language models on the background that are actually the AI engines that are providing our responses. But this is it, right? So, and if I want a different version, I can ask it to just go ahead and rewrite it. And I'll just say, just rewrite this answer. So there's a myriad of things that I could go through from here, but I'd like to keep the convo flowing. Now let's look at a simple email response assistant. So here's the example setup. Shoot, you broke your leg and finger and had to extend your vacation by a week. Upon returning to your business, you receive this email. What to do? So the email says urgent, unacceptably late design. You can see a client is unhappy because now we are kind of running a week late, and they want to know what to do about it. So the nice thing about the chatbot is it does not feel emotionally hurt by anything. And so, right, it can come up with an objective response to anything that's going on. So I'm simply going to construct my prompt, which is as simple as how should I respond to this email in a respectable manner? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy that. I am going to, just to clear my screen, I'm going to go ahead and start anew. And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab that email. And I'm just going to paste it right in. And it doesn't matter how long your email is. These prompts now can handle loads and loads of text. I mean, I think some of them can handle as much text that are in the Bible. So you're probably not going to run out of space. So dear upset customer, thank you for bringing this issue to our attention. I understand your frustration with the delay, right? Please allow me to address your concerns. We take full responsibility, right? It's not up to our usual standards of service. We regret the inconvenience. You'll notice in my prompt, I didn't give the reason why I'm late, but if I did, it might help them understand the context, which is, you know, I had an emergency. I broke my leg, broke my finger. So instead, it just says we've had unexpected challenges. So to get the project back on track, well done, right? So as a sole proprietor, this might not be as big of an opportunity, right? Because you don't have additional resources, but you do have more time. And then it's, you know, it makes a suggestion. Well, maybe we'll give you a discount. So you can look at the types of things that the chatbot develops, right? And recognize that, yeah, this is pretty objective and it's going to give you some professional ideas. And if you don't like it, you can just ask it to rewrite it. You can update your prompt, right, for another alternative. So pretty simple uses of AI right out of the gates. You can see it's really easy to use, and it can be very helpful in your workflow. Even if, like I said, even if you're not really going to write it, oftentimes, especially if I get kind of an emotional email, for either whether it's from a client or a family member, oftentimes I really just need help getting started with how I might address it. And then I can go ahead and edit it really to my specific situation from there. AI is just great at doing that. So now let's up the ante. And this came out of a lot of interaction from the last webinar on Wednesday. So here's what we're going to do. So if we really want to perhaps use this more in your workflow, certainly you should have, if you have a separate business email account, and if not, I'll show you just very quickly how you can get one of those. Setting up a calendar to help people schedule time with you. This is also, it's very easy to set up. And then, we'll set up business parameters to help the AI respond to email inquiries. And then we'll set up the chatbot prompt to respond to email. So my only caveat is this is now the first time that I'll run through that. So moving right along. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how to do some of the things that I described. So let's start with, if you don't yet have a separate business email, it's really easy. I'm just going to pick a new tab here in my my Google browser, and then I'm going to head over to my account, and then I'm going to just ask it to add another account. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click that for now. It's asking me to sign in. And I'm going to say, no, I want to create an account. And I will create this for my work or my business. Right? And then it's going to try and sell me something, of course, but Google is going to give you another account with 15 gigabytes of storage. Kind of nice, right? So I won't go through the entire process, but it's really just a few more clicks. And that's going to get you your Google account, right? The next step in the process was setting up your own business calendar. Again, so there's several tools here that can help you do that. A lot of people use Calendly. It's another free and very useful tool. Since I'm here using the Google tools, I will just continue on that vein. So if I click over here on the right, this hash of dots, I gain access to all the Google applications. I will select Google Calendar. Through the calendar, I will go ahead and hit create an appointment schedule. And I guess you get a good look at my appointments. But right, so what I will do is I'll say Hoska business schedule. I guess my company name is Hoska Design schedule. Right, I can go ahead and I can type in, right, when I'm available. I can make these things, right, how far in advance out I want to set my schedule. Whoops. Whether it's now, right, I mean, I can go through this whole section. None of this has to do with AI. How long I want my appointment blocks, right, various things. So a description of, I would include a description of your business in the descriptor field, right? And then you save it and you will have, right, some calendar entries so that people can use to go schedule time with you. And I'll be using these later. So I won't finish that for myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this site. Gonna go back to my presentation and keep moving. So these business parameters that I'm describing here, again, these will be used to help provide context to the chatbot to do the types of things that I want to do. And it's right, it's very close. So, you know, my name is a designer, my business name. I'm telling the chatbot that I'm a sole proprietorship so that I won't get into suggesting that I have a whole team that can address issues. If I had a team of designers, I would describe that in my business. So my business is comprised of 3 designers and 2 visualization experts, something like that. Right, the tone that I want to project, really what my regular working hours typically are, and obviously I also have a calendar to go with that. These came out of suggestions from Wednesday as well. These obviously, right, need to be personalized and are only illustrative of what. And this came up because one of the designers said, I get tons of emails for people just asking for completely unrealistic things. And I'd like the chatbot to help weed through those so I don't have to deal with them. If you specialize in certain areas, go ahead and type those in. The chatbot will use those. Right, if you tend to work in specific geographic areas, because you have access to those areas and you want to understand the regulatory environment, type those in. So this calendar link, when you finish setting up your calendar, it will give you a link to your calendar, and so I have just come up with an illustrative calendar link right here. So, and by the way, I'm happy to share this presentation if you guys, I mean, I know this is on record, but if you guys will value like the PDF of this, I'm happy to share this with you as well for distribution.
Yeah.
So, any questions really on setting up your business parameters?
So you're setting up these parameters in the chatbot or in
Yeah, so I will show you exactly how this works. And the chatbot will use this as context for who you are, right, and your business. And then just like before, so what I did really, right, is, so what I did previously is I started you with just a very simple use case for how to use generating emails and responding emails in your workflow. So now I'm taking the use case to the next level, and what might be really more real world of what you would do. So as you know, right, we type prompts to help get us what we want. So I've written a few, right, a few examples here. And they're just simple, right? The most simple one is help me respond. So I am going to use this to respond to emails. So I'm saying, help me respond to this. And I don't need to even say lead email. I can just say email asking about my business, right? Be optimistic. So you can see I have several responses. The second prompt, I add a little bit of complexity, right? So saying, let them know, right? But let them know they should look elsewhere if their budget is too low. And that's all I really have to say. The third one, I add a little bit more complexity and say, let them know I'm a poor fit if they ask for work outside my geographic area. Right, and again, I'll show you how you use all of these, right? But it can be iterative. So moving on to set up this example, right? The next one is, as we discussed previously, is to assemble your prompt. So now I'll show how to do that. And I'll bounce around a little bit, but start with your business parameters. So I'm going to go back to my business parameters, and I'm just going to copy and paste all of those in. And what I might do really to assemble this prompt for later use, I'm just going to go ahead and assemble this prompt into now a Google document. So if I'm going to be using this in my workflow, instead of assembling this by scratch every time, I'm just going to save this off into a document so I can refer to it again. So I have the first part of my context for the chatbot now typed in, my business parameters. It's like, okay, what's next? Select your prompt. Okay, so which prompt do you guys want me to use? You're open?
Yeah.
Let's pick, so I'll pick this, well, I'll pick the third one. And I am going to actually, I'm going to make the third one even more complex. I'm just going to add this issue around. Basically, if they don't have the budget, I'm going to be very polite, and I will politely suggest that I might not be their best fit.
Yeah.
But if they really want my help figuring something out, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So now I've constructed my prompt. Okay, so what's next? Next really is, it's going to be really testing your prompt. So I've come up with a few sample inbound inquiries of emails that you might receive in your inbox. So we'll take a run through each one of these. Right, so the first one is for a customer that's looking for a custom design for $3,000. So that might not be realistic. So here's how I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy my entire prompt that I've constructed. I'm going to paste that in. As you can see, it's all in there now. And then I would go to my email inbox. I'd grab that email. Whoops, sorry, I'm bouncing around here. Paste it into my prompt. And let's see what the chatbot says. Dear Cheap Banter, thank you for reaching out to us. I'm happy to discuss how we can help. Right, we are an experienced design firm. Right, this includes a full set of construction-ready plans for a 3-bed, 2-bath home. That's what they asked for. Well, I understand your budget is $3,000. I'm afraid I would not be able to provide the level of service and quality you deserve within that range, right? And then it's basically tell them that, so here's where we have an issue. It doesn't recognize that Shawnee, Oklahoma is within the geographic area of Oklahoma. So you can see it might have a few challenges because the large language models don't have all the context yet. So I have another example where it's asking for work in New York, and the chatbot knows that it can't work in New York, but it doesn't understand Shawnee, Oklahoma. So you might have, you might go back and revise your business parameters to say, you know, it doesn't work great. And really, I just want to tell them the areas that I do work in, right? But it does suggest next steps. If you're able to increase your budget, I'd be happy to schedule a call with you. You can access my calendar. Here's my calendar link to find a convenient time. I wish you the best of luck finding the right design professional in your home project. And again, you might want to revise your prompt in that you don't really want to turn people away if they really want your help finding a design professional, even though it's below your budget or whatnot, or even if you want to talk to them, right? You can revise your prompt. But one of the designers basically said, look, I'm too busy to talk to people that really have totally unrealistic expectations. And I want to be right, professional and courteous, and I'll just let the email handle that for us. So that's example number one. Example number two, I'll show here. So I will just go straight back to my crafted prompt. And I'm just going to copy and paste that back in. Right, so my sample, where is this? This is coming from, oh my goodness.
We can sign you out.
It logged me out, darn it. So next. Okay. Oh my goodness. So I am going to turn off my screen for just a second because I know none of you are interested in my email. Oh, it completely signed me out of all kinds of stuff. So I'll be right back on that. Well, that's embarrassing. That's the first time I've had that happen.
So while you're, just a quick question.
I'm sorting my socks.
So
Here we go.
I was going to suggest it's probably not wise to accept AI's first response. Like, you don't want to just send right away, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's some good advice, but like you said, the Shawnee, Oklahoma, there's some things it just doesn't understand the context of.
Every time I've used it, I've changed something.
Right.
Absolutely. And here's another aspect of what you should be taking away from this. And it's in many respects, right, it's an iterative process to where instead of just unleashing AI into your workflow, you're going to want to test around with it. And so when you see the types of issues that I just described, you go through an iterative process of revising your prompts to get the types of outputs that you want before obviously testing it out with people. And even still, what you can put at the bottom of an email, and you can tell the chatbot to do this, or you can just add it. You can simply, for example, add a caveat around, hey, I'm using AI to help me in my business workflow. If this response is not appropriate to you, please schedule time on my calendar and we can discuss. And that might be a way that hopefully people can understand, right, that we're all right professionals and we're trying to run a business effectively. So Now I'm back live. I'm going to run my second text. And here we go. So thanks for reaching out. It's nice in that it reconfirms what they're looking for, right? It's saying, hey, I do have a specialty in this area. Oh, this is a flat out hallucination. This is the very first time I've seen that. Which is, it's basically having an issue with understanding the math between my fees start at 5,000 and an initial budget of 6,000 may be a bit low.
Yeah.
First time I've ever seen that in running lots of prompts. Normally it says, we're thrilled to take it on. So let's see what happens.
I can talk more about hallucinations as well. So with artificial intelligence, it has no concept of math or time or numbers. Artificial intelligence, in the way that it generates a response, it predicts what the most likely response to a specific query might be. So AI doesn't understand the context of the situation. It just predicts the situation. And we've trained AI to be so good at predicting that this rarely happens. But with all generative AI, you get things called hallucinations, which is where given something and given all the context for a logical response, it hallucinates and gives you something completely random. So that's why it's very important to go back through, reread the emails, and maybe run it again. And like Steve was saying, it happens very rarely, but with all generative AI, it can happen. And you'll see that on occasion with our Design Pro tool as well. And it's just something to keep in mind when working with AI.
Oh. So, and what I would say, my suggestion is, I think this is still better than doing a canned response, because it does a very good job of replaying what your prospect is telling you. And you can see, I just reran it, and it says, right, your project fit, it aligns well with my specialty area, and I'm confident we can work within your budget, right, to produce just what you asked for. Let's start an initial consultation with you and your spouse as soon as possible. Right, we'll do a cost estimate. You can access my calendar, you can find a convenient time, and I look forward to learning more about your project. So again, for me, I'm reluctant to use the automated AI tools for this type of workflow item for exactly these reasons. Right, but you can see how it might be quite useful to very quickly generate responses to inquiries and get a response, as long as you proofread it, right, and make sure that it works for you.
So don't just hit send.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'll go ahead and do just one more, and then we can move on. So this next one here is somebody asking about their deck. So we'll see how it does with that. So I typed in my prompt, copied in my email. Happy to assist you with your deck design. Great. Deck plans start at 500. We'd be delighted to talk about your specific leads. Now in this one, it did a lot better. On the geographic work area, it didn't make any comments about whether it would work. It's just letting them know the geographic areas that we work in, right? So that if they're not in those areas, maybe they won't schedule time with you, right? And they'll look elsewhere. But essentially it's, once again, schedule time with me. I'm confident that we can work together to create a stunning deck design that meets your needs and budget. I look forward to hearing from you and assisting with your project. So moving right along, there are, like I said, there are sort of next level applications. So I haven't had an opportunity to evaluate these applications yet. There are several that are pretty highly rated. Addy AI, and that's free, although they're pretty new, so they're sort of a queue to sign up for their services. I'll check them out probably in the next month or two. There's several, right, and so I might try those out on like maybe some of my personal emails where, right, my friends and family aren't probably going to be miffed if it blows it. But I would not be ready to use these types of tools in a business context. So really the next part starts to transition really into AI generated visualizations. So are there any other comments or questions on general access to the chatbot, how you might be able to use those, and just managing what all business operators have, which is dealing with trying to generate more business or communicating outbound via email, and how to use AI to maybe help assist in crafting email responses?
I have one comment. I've used it a lot for code stuff. Like if I don't know where to start looking, I use ChatGPT. I'll say, where in the 2018 IBC does it talk about fire extinguishers? And it'll just rattle right off. I can go right to that. So I've used it quite a bit for code lookup stuff.
That would be good. Yeah.
So something about code lookups and just searches in general. Perplexity AI has a really awesome feature called, and if I can quickly steal the presentation, I can show this real quick, and I'll give it back.
Show the part of each using Perplexity.
Yeah, I will go ahead. I'll hit end if you want to bring it up.
So with Perplexity, you're able to change the focus to all these different search parameters. So as Steve was saying, you can change it to academic, which will cause it to search in published academic papers, YouTube, Reddit, writing, which is just baseline generative text writing, Wolfram Alpha, which is more for computational knowledge, like mathematics and science, but we'll just do all. And if you want to search for building code, what was the exact question that you mentioned?
Well, you can say anything like stairway width, like say what is the minimum stairway width as described in the 2018 IBC.
So with Perplexity, it'll actually search the entire web and find you sources on those subjects. It'll give you images as well as all the code requirements and where it found this information. So it'll tell you the minimum clear width of stairways between handrails is 48 inches, gives you exceptions and all the information that it found on this question. So it does a much better job at providing sources and giving you relevant information versus ChatGPT typically can only provide you information that it's been trained on, and without a pro subscription, it can't search the web. And even with the pro subscription, we found that Perplexity just does a much better job at providing you sources and information relevant to the question that you're asking. So when it comes to looking up codes or looking up important information as you're designing, Perplexity is the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can get my screen back on. Great. So we have a little bit of a transition, as I said, which is using AI to develop visualizations. We're obviously I'm going to transition to Sam here in a minute in terms of showing you how to get those done. But I wanted to talk about how some of the designers that I talk to, and that is a company we're talking to, are using these in their workflow. I understand it, right? Everybody's business workflows are different. And Nick, our CEO, I mean, he is now talking to multiple designers every day and design firms. And so I just wanted to share some of these with you because for the designers, many of the designers that we talk to, these are changes in sort of how they've been going about their design process and the workflow with their clients. So this first one up here is, and this one is also, if you guys, for those of you that go to national events, this one came from Dennis Fletcher. He's another AIBD designer, and he said he's really found the visualizations very helpful to get a different perspective just for himself of the designs that he's creating. Because the visualization creates obviously another perspective. So he uses it to, he does an initial design of an elevation view, creates the visual or render, and see if that sparks any ideas for himself. So another one of our designers, actually based out of the Carolinas, John Coyle, is saying, and he has gone from not really even using renders in his workflow, because he says most of his clients are, they're sort of, they're cash strapped, and they're oftentimes coming to him because they can't afford a certified architect. And so what he's saying is he's finding, first, he's making his clients a lot more happy in that because it's so easy and fast to create a visualization using AI, that he's able to show them those visualizations early on in the design for alternatives. And they're very surprised because they weren't expecting to get something of that caliber. And he said he's actually been very successful with several clients to date now who are saying, hey, right, my budget is X, and I'm not interested in going over that at all. And he said he was presently surprised by offering a couple of different design alternatives to each one of those clients, and they're so frankly thrilled by the output and interested in what's possible that he's been able to do small change orders in their designs. He said in one case, he said he, had a pretty inexpensive design that he was doing, and with about 15 minutes worth of work on a visualization, he basically did a small change order of $400, but he was pretty happy with that, given it was only 15 minutes of work. Right, and then of course, during the finished design, to enhance the customer experience, I think that most of the designers that I talk to do this anyway, right, is they provide a render at the end of their work, at least one elevation view. Actually, frankly, most of the designers that I talk to outsource that because they just haven't invested the months of effort that it usually takes to learn a rendering tool. And so some designers are saying they're starting to add a caveat to their visualizations, probably just similar to what I said. If you're going to send out an AI, if you were to send out an AI generated email response without reviewing it, I would for sure caveat it, right? And tell the reader that, hey, this is an AI that's just helping me. So similarly, designers find really a similar issue with even just the renders they put out, where clients can get fussy on, the color. Hey, that's not the color I want, or whatnot. And so just a simple caveat around, this photorealistic visualization was generated by Design Pro, an AI tool. It's not intended to represent a detailed view of what your finished house or landscaping will be. So some designers are now, they do this anyway on their renders with slightly different wording. And you might find caveating or footnoting visualizations or renders that you're doing helpful. So with that said, I am going to transition the discussion now over to Sam, who will take you through the visualization tool.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. A second, get this fired up. So thank you all. We're going to start our Design Pro presentation with a very short 44-second introduction. This will just give an overview about what we're talking about and how the tool works.
Welcome to Hoska. Today we're pleased to introduce the Design Pro bundle. a comprehensive solution designed to elevate your visualization capabilities and streamline collaboration in home design projects. With Design Pro, you can generate custom 3D visualizations from 2D plans or photographs, maintaining over 95% line integrity for true to vision renders. Customize visualizations to your specifications, ensuring your vision is faithfully translated into the final product. Complementing Design Pro is Hoska Drive, a secure storage integration ensuring seamless workflows and safeguarding sensitive design files.
So today I'll be demoing both of these products, Design Pro as well as Drive. So before I get started,
Welcome to Hoska.
here we go. Before I get started, we've put together a couple of discounts for you all to get started with our tool. We want to make this as accessible and easy to access for all AIBD members, and we really value your feedback. So part of getting started, you can join our Discord, which is a online kind of community service. You can always reach out to us for help with your renders, or if you have suggestions or comments, you can reach out to us there or via email. But putting together this discount, we really want to make this, as I was saying, accessible for all AIBD members. So today I'm going to show you how easy it is to get started with our tool. Getting started is as easy as visiting our website at www.hoska.ai. You'll see immediately the demo video that I just showed you, as well as a little information about Design Pro. You can click on our Products tab to view what's included in the Design Pro bundle, and you'll see a little image here of the render from the elevation view into the finished product. So Design Pro, it creates stunning photorealistic visualizations with over 95% line integrity. Customization flexibility, so being able to change the custom specifications like style, color, and landscaping. Real-time collaboration and engagement. So with tools like Drive, we've made it really easy to share your files with client and get client feedback, as well as a streamlined workflow. So accelerate deal closures by delivering these high-quality visualizations and enhancing client satisfaction and alignment. This is what Steve was talking about. Being able to share renders early in the design process can help with upselling and really motivating the client to follow through with the process, and it gives you some potential opportunities, as he was saying, to upsell. Including in Design Pro is Hoska Drive, which enables secure collaboration, scalable reliability, and protecting intellectual property. So we use cloud services to store your files on a very secure cloud, so that no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to access your renders and other assets. I won't jump into the key features. We've covered the majority of them today. So you all can go through and check this out on our website. Looking at pricing, so with the AIBD discount, this will be moved down to, Steve, do you have the exact number on the AIBD discount for yearly? I believe it's
63%, and so for the year, it's 707.
Right, 707. So clicking Get Started Now will bring you to our dashboard. And first, it'll force you to go through a login and sign up sequence. But you'll be able to go here and select Premium to get started on a premium plan. So typically, our premium plan is around $1,900 yearly. With the AIBD discount, as Steve was saying, it'll be closer to $700 yearly, which I think it's around $43 a month, and that'll get you 6,000 Viz tokens. And then we also have our starter plans as well. And you can select a monthly or yearly option. So going back to our main interface, you're able to see Design, Protect, Exchange, as well as your account information where you can access subscriptions, as well as a Help tab where you can access documentation about how to use Design Pro, as well as booking a training. So if you're running into issues and need some help working Design Pro, you can book a training and get assistance from one of our team members.
Is your screen changing? Because we're not seeing a change. We're still on the screen with the pricing.
Oh, thank you. Here we go. Let me bring you back through the process. Sharing the Design Pro or our application tab. So as I was saying, clicking on the link brings you to this page. You'll have to go through a login and sign up sequence. It's very easy. You just provide a phone number, enter the sign up code that we send you, and then go through a sign up process, answering some very brief questions.
Okay.
And as I was saying, so the premium for AIBD members is $707 yearly with 6,000 Viz tokens and 20 gigabytes of storage. And then we have our other plans as well.
So and access to that promotion code is at the same place where you would find the promotion code for the ARDA. It's right on the promotion code component of the AIBD website.
Right.
Yeah. They actually sent an email yesterday.
Yeah.
To all the members, given that information. AIBD did it.
Awesome.
Great.
Okay.
So
somewhere I said you didn't get it.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there if it's not in your spam box.
Well, I wonder if it's because I was at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, because
yeah, I try and find it.
Oh, okay, we need to check on that. Because I got it yesterday, maybe it's because I'd already signed up.
he didn't. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't get it either. Did you? For Arda?
No, not for ARDA, for that discount code to house pay.
No.
Oh, I guess I got it because I was on the Myrtle Beach. I just assumed it was everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll be sending this presentation as well out, and that'll have the discount code on it as well.
Okay.
So,
I'm sure you're going to, but you might describe what those Viz tokens mean, because I know y'all were kind of given, seems like at the Myrtle Beach, y'all were kind of asking, how do we, about your billing. You didn't quite have it set up yet, but what
Right.
are the Viz tokens and all that sort of thing?
So I'll jump into that in our Design Pro demo. So this is, as I was saying, the main interface. So you have Design, Protect, and Exchange. Protect is where you'll find Drive and our Safe, which will be coming soon. Under Design, you'll have Design Pro, which is our main visualization tool. Account is where you can manage your subscriptions, and under Help is where you can view documentation and booking a training for help with our tool. Under the Account section down here, you're able to join our Discord via this link. You can see your user information as well as your Viz tokens and how much storage you have left in your drive, as well as your subscription tier. If you're running into issues, you can also check the status page right here to see if there's potentially any outages or scheduled maintenance going on. Right now, I think we're at 100% uptime. We haven't had an outage yet over our 4-month span of being up. So outages are very rare, and we're always working hard to make sure that they don't happen. So going into Design Pro, I'll get into the Viz tokens in a moment. We're going to be demoing primarily the exterior tool. So first, you have to upload an image, and I'll be sharing real quick what a good input image consists of. So we spent a lot of time tweaking the engine, and we just released a new engine on April 5th, and we found that an input image where the design is front and center with limited white space around it does the best. We've also found that incorporating gradients and texturing into your input image helps the AI and gives it kind of a baseline understanding of what textures you want in what areas and for what colors. So for example, if you wanted a black metal siding with cement siding, you could introduce this gradient to help the AI understand where the cement goes versus where the black metal siding goes. As well as if you wanted a lawn, you can see that in here. There's some little textures as well right here. I'm just go through a couple other input images. So here's another one that we found works really well. So you can see the introduction of the different siding types here. So you have a board and batten, and then maybe a lap siding, as well as other textures for the different details of the house. And you can see that it's front and center. And here's one more that I'm going to show you. So you can see the textures for the roofing, the shake siding here, the board and batten, maybe some stone texturings here as well to indicate that stone would go there. So we're going to use this input image today as part of our demo. So going back to the dashboard, all you're going to do is upload the elevation view. One moment. I have it here. So you'll be able to see it uploaded. And then next up, you'll enter your custom prompt. So this is kind of the trickiest part of your visualization, is getting a prompt that works in the way that you want. So we found that using short and concise language and more general language works the best when prompting. So I'm going to start with this basic prompt of cement siding with a black metal siding and a lawn. And we'll just start there. Remove allows you to remove certain aspects of the visualization that you're seeing recurring and you don't want to see in your overall visualization. So maybe if there's a fence or a pool that keeps on popping up, you'll be able to remove it via this box right here. And then you'll go in and you'll render your project. So each render costs 1 Viz token. So getting back to the concept of Viz tokens, this is our way to kind of monetize our platform and help you as well keep track of how many visualizations you're going through. Each render that you do will cost 1 Viz token. So every time you click render project and you get an image back, it'll cost a Viz token. We do not decrement Viz tokens if you do not get an input image back. So if any reason there was an error or you forgot an input image, we won't decrement your Viz token count. It'll only be if you get an image back. Any questions so far?
Where did those little dots come from on your? It's like it's not even in your input.
Yeah.
But
Right. So
that looks weird.
as we were talking about with artificial intelligence, there's hallucination. So it tries to look at what you're inputting and come up with a idea of what you're trying to visualize. So with that, you get hallucinations. So you get things like dots. You might get a little fence here that you didn't want. And maybe the textures just aren't right. Or maybe if you didn't want a lawn, that could be another aspect of it. So that's why we added the remove aspect of the prompt. Another important thing to note is a great analogy for working with AI and with our visualization tool is our visualization tool is like a 7th grader who's able to draw, or a 7-year-old who's able to draw great visualizations, photorealistic visualizations. The problem is the 7th grader or the 7-year-old doesn't understand what the texture of cement siding might look like, or what the texture of black metal siding might look like. That's why it's really important to specify the textures of the material in your elevation view, so that you can give that 7-year-old the guidance to generate an image that works well in your workflow. So maybe if I didn't want these dots, I can include some texturing around the cement as well. But another aspect of that is the remove box. So being able to prompt for things like whatever those are. So we'll try and remove dots. Another thing we've introduced with our new engine is the ability to add weight to your prompt. So for example, if you're not seeing the black metal siding you want, you could add an emphasis here. For this visualization, we are getting a pretty good response on the black metal siding, so I won't need to add it. And another important thing to note about the weighting is that you can add as many weights as you want, obviously with restraint. So as you add more, that will just take over more of the engine's processing power and computational thoughts, causing it to focus on that more. So we advise to start small and then build up as you try and remove items from your visualization. Another thing I want to remove is this fence over here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to say fence. We'll try and remove that out, and we'll re-render again. So that was one render. So we'll visualize this out. One of the things that we got feedback on was the rendering time. So we've worked hard to decrease that to under a minute. So each visualization comes back to you very quickly. You're able to make and adjust changes very, very quickly. And depending, of course, on network speed. So if there's more people using the engine, it'll take a little bit longer. And as we scale up, we'll be able to add more compute power to it. So these renders will just get faster and faster. Any questions so far on the visualization tool?
So does it use a token each time you render? Like,
Yes.
even though you change it? Okay.
Wow.
But the starter, I think, was 600.
Yeah.
600 for a year. I believe we give 50 tokens a month for starter.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there's 2 discount codes. If you want to use something other than premium, there's 2 discount codes there as well. There's early user 20, and then if you're already part of the Facebook group, Residential Design Professionals, there's a code you can get there, or if you just add yourself to that group, it's free. It's curated by Dennis Fletcher, another AIBD member. And that would get you a 30% discount code off any product that you want to buy. Obviously, it's free to use to start as well.
right, so you get 15 biz tokens to start, to kind of start you off.
So you get practice for free, 15.
Yeah, so we've identified that it typically takes around 10 visualizations, 10 to 15 on the higher end to get the visualization that you want. Once you gain more skill using the tool and you understand a little bit more about its nuances, you can break that down to between 1 and 5 visualizations to get the output that you want. The important thing to note is that with AI, of course, as we saw before, it hallucinates. It comes up with things that you don't necessarily want. So that's just an important aspect to know, is that will happen. So we've provided ample Viz tokens to make sure that with those hallucinations, you're still able to get a bunch of renders out of our starter package. So I'm still getting the fence back here. I'm going to add some more weight to that to really try and get it to remove the fence.
I thought it meant further.
The neighbors.
Yeah.
I don't want that close.
Yeah, I know it's a demonstration, but honestly, that fence wouldn't have bothered me.
Yeah,
It's still not bad.
So this is a great example of a hallucination. So you can see here, it wasn't quite sure if there was supposed to be a roof here or something along those lines. So we're down to 3 visualizations.
Oh, it made that look like a sloped roof with a.
Yeah, so it put in a sloped roof here, and that's just part of our line accuracy, trying to determine what is part of the house and what isn't part of the house. So I'm going to change up the word for fence. I'm going to add fencing to try and get it to remove that fence. It's really being stubborn about having that in there. There's a line that you can see in the input image. Let me share this tab. So if I zoom in here, there's a line in the background over there that I think it's picking up on. So if I really wanted to get rid of that fence, I'd have to remove that line and some of that texture back there. But you can try as hard as you want with prompting, and hopefully we'll get a render right here without the fence. But the input image, as I was saying, that's the most important part of the visualization, is what lines do you have in your input image, because those lines are going to guide the output that you want. So yeah, I'm really struggling with this fence here.
You're adding yardage. It's like farther away.
It's good at the fence back. It's good at the fence.
We're gonna give up on the fence endeavor. If I really wanted to get that out of there, I'd go into the input image and remove it. It's always important just to go back to the baseline of, okay, what am I inputting into the tool, and how can I set it up for success? So we'll render this a couple more times to get a visualization that we really like, and then I'll showcase our drive feature.
I mean, you're still, any of my clients would have been just amazed.
Yeah.
So fast.
Now watch it give you one without a fence.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back to that comment of the 7-year-old, it's completely like herding cats. In artificial intelligence it's a tricky beast. All it wants to do is be creative, and we're trying to restrict it to within the lines. It's like giving a 7-year-old a coloring book and trying to tell it to draw within the lines. So we've gotten it pretty dialed in with our newest engine that we'll be releasing in late May, early June. We've achieved 99% line integrity in terms of staying true to the lines that you present to it and the textures. So that's one of the things that we've been building upon and improving upon, is that line integrity.
So the line integrity, are you saying, such as that render that interpreted a sloped ceiling, added a fascia, but the fascia is not there. Are you saying, is that what you mean by line integrity? It won't add things that aren't there?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So hallucinating less, and for example, going back to this tab, so say you have a post drawn in here, or a support, instead of with less line integrity, it may put in another support right here, or it might draw in another support over here to the right, something that you don't want. So with line integrity, it'll stay true to the overall composition of the house. Of course, there's still hallucinations when it comes to AI, where it'll just draw on something random, as we've seen before with the emails. So that's just something that is inherent with generative AI. We're constantly trying to improve it, but without hallucinations, we've achieved 99% line integrity.
There's like a,
It's in your drawing.
If you give it,
it is, it's trying to render something.
if you start with a 2D elevation, will it spin it to make it look 3D, or is it just keep it like a total front elevation or whatever you're showing it?
When you have to draw at least the two sides.
That's what I'm wondering, if it would.
How will it know the other side unless it's got the plan and everything?
It does a pretty good job at rendering out 2D to 3D. So making it look, it won't add depth, but it'll use image tricks to kind of ensure that it looks photorealistic and it doesn't look like just a 2D image. So I'll start by downloading this. See, we got some dots up here. If I really want to remove that, actually, I'll add it one more time and re-render this one more time. Really trying to remove some of those dots. So we're now down to 995. I started out with 1,000. This is pretty good. I like the idea of, oh, as you can see, there's actually a hallucination right there. So down to 994. We'll render this out one more time, trying to make sure that we get the output that we want. So we'll let this go again. And if I see another visualization without a lawn, I'll add in some emphasis here. Sweet. Okay, so I really like this one. I think it adhered to the prompt really well. We have our cement siding. We have our metal siding. We still have our fence, unfortunately, but like I was saying, like our input image to get that one out. But we'll go ahead and we'll download this. So to let you know that the download started, and you'll be able to view the render in the render folder in Hoska Drive. So going back to Hoska Drive, under Protect, you can click here and you can view your renders. So you can see we've labeled renders by the date that you render them. So clicking on this, you'll be able to see your latest render, and you'll be able to view it within Hoska Drive. This is also where you'll be able to click and download it, share it, or delete your render. So today I'll be showcasing the share function. So this is if you want to share a render with a client, you'll just click share, and you'll click on copy URL. You can send this to any one of your clients, and it'll give them access to the file for 30 days. So I'll share a tab.
If you were to delete something on accident, do you guys have backups or archives you can go back to?
So right now with our secure cloud storage, we don't have backups or what's it called? Any sort of a backup feature. The reason for this is we're trying to emulate a environment where it's decentralized in the aspect of we're not storing or holding your files in a place other than where we specify. So for example, we say that we have it in cloud storage. That is only accessible to you and no one else. So we want to ensure that that's the case going forward in terms of other people being able to access this file. If you delete it, we want to ensure that no one else will have access to that file. Hence the idea of no backup. So we've actually rolled back on this thinking with our, so first I'll get into that in a second. This is our collaboration tool. So sending them the link up here, your client will be able to view the image, download it, as well as coming soon, they'll be able to add comments. So you'll be able to go back and forth on the visualization and add new aspects to it that the client might want, making collaboration really easy. So going back to our drive, so we will be adding restoration and backups of cloud storage, and this will be what's called hot storage. So all the files in here will be backed up and accessible in the cloud. And if you accidentally delete something, we'll be able to back up your file for 30 days. We'll have access to that file. The next aspect for secure storage is our drive, or our safe. So this will be on something called Filecoin, which is a decentralized file storage service, meaning once you upload something to Filecoin, it can never be deleted. So with our safe, we'll be directly linking you to Filecoin, which is this decentralized storage aspect, and that's a whole other presentation. But to summarize it, and Steve can help me out here, it's a very secure way of storing your files that can never be changed. And once it's on this file storage platform, anyone will be able to access it, and it'll be there till the end of time. It's immutable. So we'll have encryption so that when you upload something, only people that you give access to this file will be able to access it. But that's our next aspect of file storage, is making sure that there's a place for storing your most sensitive files and your most secure files, and that'll be our safe.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll just add one more comment to that. They will obviously be changeable or deletable by you, right? So I'm just saying, not by other third parties. This was a topic as well that several designers brought up at the Myrtle Beach National Conference, which is basically making sure that there is a private storage mechanism that keeps files safe from access by AI engines who might be learning essentially how to become a designer and accessing those files. So it's important there, and so that will just be another one of our features that we'll use our Viz token ecosystem. So we envision when you submit your a design into that safe for perpetual storage. That might take, we're still modeling it, but it would take certainly less than 5, but it might take a couple of Viz tokens. And as we add features in the coming months, we see these Viz tokens as our sort of internal Hoska currency to allow you to access our functions, which is kind of why as well for AIBD, we created that really deep discount on our premium plan. Because not just for renders, but certainly over the coming months, we're going to have all kinds of ways and all kinds of functions. And so we just wanted to make sure that our premier partners were able to access those for what will be our lowest price.
Right. Thank you. So yeah, another quick note about prompting that I want to note. A really important aspect of this is this AI engine doesn't understand action verbs. So for example, let me just upload this input image again. If I wanted to move the cement siding to the black metal siding, or have the black metal siding take up the entirety of the input image, I can't go ahead and say, move the black metal siding to the rest of the house. You can't get that natural, in a sense, with the AI engine. You have to be very specific with your prompting, in the sense of you can say something like black metal siding, and you could emphasize that, and then you can de-emphasize cement siding. So breaking up your prompt into comma-separated sentences will help the AI interpret the different aspects of your visualization to make sure that you're getting the best visualization possible. Any questions on Design Pro or our Design Pro bundle with Drive?
So what happens if you want to take it and you want to put the design render on your own website or something like that? How does that work?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Do what?
Can you repeat that one more time?
What happens if you want to take the render that you made and you want to put it on your website?
Right. So that brings me into Drive. So say you get a render that you really like, you'll be able to go to the renders folder, click on the render that you had and click download. So that'll download the render to your personal computer, and then you'll be able to upload onto your website from there.
Okay.
We're going to be building as one of our next product suites under Exchange, a portfolio service that will allow you to upload your renders and actually create a little microsite, a little portfolio microsite where you can showcase all the renders that you've done, a little bit more about the your specific style, and you'll be able to showcase all your different renders. And you can use that as a splash screen for sending clients to, and it'll directly integrate with Drive. So that it'll be really easy to incorporate renders from your Drive onto your microsite. But yeah, you can go in and view and download your files from the Drive screen.
Okay.
So that means, so I guess, didn't think about it till you asked that, but we own the renders that you create.
Yeah, so we would
We
have
would own the
copyright.
copyright, so.
Right.
Two of those images, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was more the copyright.
Yeah. So we do not own the renders that you create on our platform, and downloading it to Drive. As I was saying before, we don't have access to those files. We don't go in and obviously our system admins maintenance on the cloud and ensure that things are running smoothly. Part of that is being able to access the files on the system, but as a whole, other people can't from the outside of Hoska can't go in and access your files. And even the people on the internal structure, there's a lot of permission structures put in place to ensure that only the people with the correct permissions are able to access your files. And even then, we don't have people that can go in, view your files, and manipulate your files.
I do got another question.
Yep.
The rendering of the building looks great, but how much can the AI incorporate landscaping into it? If it's drawn on the sketch, would it interpolate what the plants were you were trying to emulate, or at least know to put some plants on there, trees or whatever it is?
Yes. So if you put it in the drawing, it'll do a great job at rendering those in. So we put some little small dots in and lines for grass to kind of give it a hint about what we want. But if you wanted to put in like a garden without even having to put in the drawing, we found success with putting in things like a beautiful, lush garden to help push it towards better landscaping. So I'll run this again.
Well, is there a way to, like, let's say you liked the way that it's rendered the walls and the windows, you like exactly what's there. Can you lock that, but then add what you're doing? Or will it just totally reinterpret everything?
It will, every time you render, it unfortunately reinterprets everything. We're working on, in our next release, a new aspect of the tool that will allow you to include a reference image. So if you have an image that you really want to emulate with a beautiful garden with a very specific siding type, you'll be able to use that in your render, and it'll take all the siding types from that input reference image and the landscaping and stuff like that, and apply that to your finished render to kind of help with that. Because with AI, as we were demoing earlier, it starts from scratch every single time. There will be something that we call a style lock feature, which will allow you to lock in how the AI approaches your image. So if you just wanted to change one thing about the image or one prompt, you could keep the prompt the same, style lock it, and then say you wanted to just change the black metal siding, you would keep the same prompt with the cement siding, and you would just change the black metal siding, and it will give you a visualization with without the black metal siding and with your new siding type. So that's kind of the different ways that we're planning on solving that issue.
Okay.
So I think it recognizes, it did add in some plants here. It's not quite the beautiful lush garden that we were hoping for. But
if you drew it in, it's going to interpolate it. Like I said, if you draw it into the
Elevation sketch, yeah.
yeah.
right, yeah, exactly. If you draw it into the elevation view, it'll interpret what you're trying to put in there.
Right. So could it be like layers that you're talking about? A sketch that's already locked in. I mean, it'd be like in Adobe, they have layers. Could you have an AI layer lock that you could put them the two together or three together or whatever you want to do to build what you're trying to do? I go, well, I love that sky, but I like the building from render 2, and I like the sky from render 6, and I like the plant from render 4.
Cheers.
That's where you save them all. You take them into Photoshop.
That may be the only way you do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But now,
Great idea.
but
Yeah.
you kind of talked about, rather than this being a tool for final renderings, which is what I was kind of hoping for, but yeah, is this in the workflow? I think you said Dennis was saying he uses it to get ideas.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's really what we found. That's primarily actually where we see a lot of designers using it. So some people do use it for final renders, especially if you don't use a rendering software like Chief AI to come up with beautiful renderings yourself, or outsourcing. This can be used as a final rendering platform. But we found the most value in early in the process, right? Early in your design process to come up with a super simple sketch. I mean, really, you can do a very simple, like hand drawing, and it'll pick up on those lines and come up with a visualization for you, or provide multiple different design changes and visualize them and be able to show them to the client. That's where we see the most value, is being able to come up with 5 to 10 really easy variations of initial design in the early stages, and potentially being able to upsell a client to a more expensive design because you're able to show them what that end result will look like. It's a lot harder for your client to understand why they would want to pay for a more customized or more elaborate plan if they can't visualize what that will look like. And our tool really helps sell that vision and sell that higher quality plan, or that more elaborate plan, which will bring in more money. Another big aspect of it is, I mean, it's less than a minute to come up with these visualizations. So being able to quickly go back and forth with the client and say, oh, I really like a black siding here, or black metal siding here, or I really like wood siding here. It really makes it easy to collaborate. We were just working with someone the other day where the visualizer, initially they wanted a brown rusted metal kind of siding with a white stucco, and they quickly tried out a gray cement siding with black metal siding instead. And the client loved the gray with the black metal siding and actually decided to go with that option instead. So being able to provide those different options, it helps you clue into what the client might want versus having to go down the path of $150 rendering service to come up with the rendering. You're just able to use our tool for some very quick generations.
Okay.
So I'll go back to what we have in store coming soon. So we upgraded our interior and exterior model. What you're seeing here is a little video of our upgraded tool. This is actually the client that wanted the brown rusted metal siding. You can see us going through some different variations here, and this is on our newer tool. So we've upped the photorealism of the model. So as you can see, it's very, very high definition. And we've upped to line integrity. This is up to 99% line integrity of the initial input image, which is this one here. So as you can see, huge upgrades to our tool coming soon. And this will also come with that reference image and style lock, being able to apply a base image to your visualization to give it an idea on what siding types you want, what colors you want, that sort of thing. But this is all coming with our upgraded engine, which will be in late May, early June.
Okay.
So, we'll do a quick little transition. If you've enjoyed this session so far, we're asking if you'd be willing to post something positive about it and tag Hoska. If you have an opportunity to use the Design Pro tool today or in the next coming days, if you come up with a good visualization in our Discord, being able to post it there or on Facebook, we'd really appreciate it. Kind of spread the word about who we are and what we're trying to do. Yeah, I think if you have Facebook, LinkedIn, we're on all these different platforms. So with that, thank you, all of you, for giving us the time to present today. We hope you got something meaningful out of our presentation, and we look forward to presenting again in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's cool.
appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Absolutely. Have a good day, you guys.
Thanks.